Let's get more perspective on this now by talking to Adolfo Franco, a former senior U.S. government official with extensive experience in American foreign policy, democracy, and governance. Someone who has closely tracked Washington's approach to Afghanistan and the region for years. Mr. Franco, welcome to Asia One News. The captured terrorists from Karachi Att confessed to infiltrating from a Jua camp in Jalalabad. At what point does this stop being spillover and become state-enabled terrorism? Could you share your opinion here?
Well, thank you for the invitation. I believe this is confirmation now that we had one survivor of these suicide bombers in Karachi. Confirmation that this is an absolutely terrorist cell and terrorist organization that is being protected by Afghanistan. There's just absolutely no question on this. Does not get very much more objective than this in terms of terrorist activities, and they're well planned and coordinated. I mean, the survivor was an Afghan national, of course, confessed to this being an operation and trained and being sent. So sometimes we've seen terrorist activities, in fact, here in the United States as well, that are referred to as lone wolf, a person acting for a variety of motivations that are inspired by internet or media or so forth, almost personal. This is not the case. These were 4 individuals trained in a camp, sent and dispatched to Karachi to carry out suicide bombings. It's so absolutely clear. It has more than just the fingerprints of the Afghans or the Taliban regime. It has all the markings of a concentrated effort against Pakistan to continue to spread terror. And the international community not only has to condemn it, but it has to act on it.
All right, and Mr. Franco, UN reports say the Taliban gave TTP safe houses, movement passes, and protection from arrest. Doesn't that prove facilitation, not just an ability to act?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that is absolute evidence of it. Once you harbor a terrorist under international law, you're responsible, you're complicit. I believe that the TPP is not only the Afghan government is not only acting in complicity, but really, frankly, let's be honest here, at the direction and with the encouragement of the Taliban regime. It could bring this terrorist organization under control if it wanted to. Its claims, Afghan government claims, the Taliban claim that, as you know, their leaders nowhere to be found, that they aren't able to control this organization or have no knowledge, one or the other. That's just not true. The way that regime works, if they wanted to exert control over this terrorist cell, they would. The sad reality, and I'm going to say this as a foreigner, is that Afghan government has in mind creating more than just terrorist attacks in Pakistan. It wants to change the regime in Pakistan. That is ultimately the goal of this terrorist organization, with the blessing and encouragement of the Afghan government. That should come to surprise to no one who knows the Taliban for the last 25 years.
Look, Pakistan filed over 800 protest notes and 13 demarches before striking. Doesn't that make its right to self-defense not just legal, but overdue?
Absolutely. I mean, I think Pakistan has bent over backwards. You know, Pakistan, of course, is now playing a bigger role generally in the Middle East with respect to the Iran U.S. issue. Pakistan, I'll have to say this, plays by the rules and has played by the rules. It has not only done the demarches and the protest notes, it's sent a team to try to negotiate in Kabul a number of times and has tried to engage the Chinese, which have, of course, some leverage in Afghanistan in these efforts. China shares a small border, of course, with Afghanistan, and that has proved to fall on deaf ears. So I think Pakistan has exhausted these matters. Also, there have been Pakistan's right to self-defense with, for example, airstrikes. The Afghan Air Force has had incursions into Pakistan. It is actually flown sorties or operations over Pakistani territory. If this were a terrorist organization, well, the Afghan Air Force would not be engaged. So the evidence here is ample. I frankly think the patience of Pakistan has been extraordinary. Consider these repeated violations and deadly attacks on not only military targets, this last one was a military target, which of course is unacceptable, but civilian targets along the border. So again, I think they have done more than enough. The question is now, what do we need to do to engage countries other than Pakistan? Because to date, they're not responding, the Taliban at all, to the pressure being exerted by Pakistan, or at least not sufficiently so.
All right, and look, no UN member state accepts the Taliban's claim that Afghan soil isn't used against its neighbors. In your opinion, why does the Taliban still get diplomatic benefit of a doubt?
Well, it shouldn't, but this is the nature of the United Nations. As an American in the United States, we've seen the incredible hypocrisy and ineffectiveness of the United Nations on many occasions. Just to be clear about that. Now, on occasion, the United Nations, if there is a convergence of all types of interest, can be a tool and can be effective. But many times it falls on deaf ears. It just does. There is also, I think, a tendency in the United Nations to ignore conflicts such as these. It sees them as skirmishes that happen throughout the world. I think that is a colossal mistake. I think we're talking about a region of the world where more attention should be paid to what's going on between Afghanistan and Pakistan than, for example, other places where there might be slight regional issues. For example, the Thai-Cambodian issue, which was really a minor issue and appears to calm down. This is not minor, and this will not calm down. So I think there is a United Nations role in this. I will add to this, because of Pakistan's enhanced stature with respect to the Iran-US talks. We are talking in the United States about terrorism. We, of course, view Iran as a terrorist state. Pakistan has cordial relations with Iran, but I think Pakistan would be well served to pressure the regional allies, including the United States, and for that matter, Iran, to say our role has been constructive for regional stability. But our own stability is now being challenged and in question by a regime that appears to answer to no one. So I think Afghan pressure, particularly from Iran and other countries in the region, pressure on beyond Pakistan, I think would go a long way. And frankly, even better than the United Nations, because I think the Afghans would respond much more to regional pressure than international pressure from afar.
Mr. Franco, General Emir of Al-Qaeda Ayman al-Zawahiri was sheltered in a Taliban safe house. Then prisoner guarantees agreement collapsed in 18 months. Given that record, what should broken promises finally cost the Taliban?
I ultimately think what it should cause the Taliban, who do not respond to a lot of pressure, is military pressure. I do believe sanctions against international sanctions since going back. I'm not minimizing against the UN. We've had sanctions imposed on Iran in the past. To impose sanctions on this regime internationally, to discredit it further, I think is important. And I say this for this reason. I understand it's not a conventional government in Kabul, and I understand their philosophy, but they respond to pressure. Right now, let's be honest here, the only pressure they're receiving is from Pakistan. And that's not enough because that's the target. So of course they expect Pakistan to respond. So the only thing they will understand is strength and pressure. This is not going to be resolved, sadly, by diplomatic efforts. Pakistan has tried that and has brought in others, and others that are important players, namely Chinese. And China has an influence in Afghan. And either there have been denials, as you know, denials or delays or very little effect. So as long as the Kabul government, which is really ultimately responsible here, gives protection to this terrorist organization, as long as they can get away with this without significant international attention, sanctions, and pressure, they will continue to do so.